Hello there. It's so nice to see you again. One of the people somewhere in the world who truly loves Jack and LyTuTien. The first 200 subscribers to this channel mean so much to me, and I'm genuinely grateful that you're here. How are you today? If you'd like, please leave a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And now, let's get into today's story. Have you ever, in a very quiet night, suddenly realized that what you fear most is not losing money, not a life of hardship, but simply watching someone step out the door? And from that moment on, your heart is no longer truly at peace? Some worries are never loud. They do not arrive with noise or chaos. It is only that every time you hear the door open, your heart tightens a little. Every time that person says, "I'm just heading out for a while," you give a soft little nod. But inside, it feels as though a gray cloud has quietly drifted over your heart. For LyTuTien, those days had been passing exactly like that. The house was still beautiful. The lights each evening were still warm. Meals were still served on time. Mama Loy was still gentle, still trying to use all her kindness to keep peace inside that home. But only Tu Tien knew that for a long time now, her heart had not truly been calm. Jack had been going out often lately. No explanations, very few words. Nothing ever showed on his face. He was still as strong and composed as ever. But sometimes, it was exactly because he looked so calm that Tu Tien grew even more afraid. Because there are people who hide things so well, only because what they are carrying is so heavy. One evening, Tu Tien sat by the window for a very long time. Mama Loy came out from the kitchen carrying a bowl of hot porridge. She set it down on the table, then gently took her daughter-in-law's hand. "Eat a little, child. You need to keep your strength." Tu Tien lowered her head and spoke very softly. "Mom, I'm just afraid Jack is walking into something dangerous all by himself." Mama Loy held her hand a little tighter. There are burdens men often choose to carry alone, not because they do not trust you, but because they want to shield you from fear. Those words should have brought comfort. But there are anxieties that do not disappear just because someone tries to soothe them. Tu Tien leaned her head on Mama Loy's shoulder. Tears slipped down silently, and the older woman simply held her, slowly stroking her back, as if sometimes the only thing people can truly do for one another is stay beside each other in silence. That night, Jack came home very late. Tu Tien was still standing by the window, waiting. When he saw her, something in his eyes softened. "You're still awake?" Tu Tien looked at him. No blame, no questions. She only said very quietly, "I was waiting for you." Just those few words. And yet they made it harder to hide the truth than any accusation ever could. Jack stepped closer, resting a hand on her shoulder, as if he wanted to say something. But in the end, he stayed silent. Because there are truths that are not kept hidden because you do not want to speak them, but because you simply cannot. Not yet. The next morning, Jack stepped out again. Tu Tien stood on the front steps for a long time, watching his figure disappear beyond the gate. The sky was clear that day, but her heart felt no lighter. By the afternoon, when her unease had grown too heavy to swallow any longer, she went to Mama Loy. Mom, I want to go to the temple." Mama Loy looked at her, then nodded very slowly. "Go, child. There are things we cannot hold on to with our hands. We can only hold them with a sincere heart." The road up to the temple was very quiet that day. Tu Tien walked slowly over the moss-covered stone steps. The wind moved through the trees, carrying the distant sound of temple bells. No one walked beside her. There was only longing, worry, and a small, fragile hope, silently following her the whole way. By the time she reached the temple courtyard, evening was beginning to fall. Lanterns swayed gently in the breeze. Thin trails of incense smoke drifted through the air. There was a strange kind of peace in that place, as if it had stood still long enough to embrace every tired heart that came looking for comfort. Tu Tien knelt before the Buddha statue. She folded her hands, closed her eyes softly. She did not pray for wealth. She did not pray for status. She prayed for only one thing. Please, keep Jack safe. If there is truly a storm waiting for him out there, please do not let him face it alone. I ask nothing for myself. I only pray for peace in this family. By the time she finished, her voice was trembling. Some tears do not fall because a person is weak, but because they have been strong for far too long. And then, from behind her, a voice rose, old, low, and calm. Your heart is carrying something very heavy. Tu Tien turned around. Before her stood an elderly monk, his brown robe moving gently in the evening wind. His eyes were deep and clear, as if they could look past her face and see directly into the place where she had been hiding her sorrow. I have just been so worried, she said softly. The monk looked at her for a moment, then replied in a slow, steady voice. It is not wrong to worry. A person who worries for the one they love is a person with deep feeling. But if you let fear swallow your whole heart, then even before trouble arrives, you will already have exhausted yourself. Tu Tien said nothing. The wind moved across the courtyard. A dry leaf fell onto the stone steps. And somehow, in that very small moment, his words sank more deeply into her than any comfort she had heard in all the days before. Then he spoke again. Life has its dark seasons and its bright ones. There are roads that seem impossible to walk, and yet somehow people still make it through. The thread of your fate has not been cut. The blessings meant for you have not been used up. Tu Tien lifted her eyes to him, red with tears. The old monk gave the faintest smile. Do not believe that heaven has turned its back on you. Some beautiful things arrive late only because they are waiting for the right time. One day, your home will be filled with laughter again. What you think is lost may not be lost at all. When she heard those words, something tightened in her chest. It was not exactly joy, not even relief, not right away. It felt more like someone had lit a small lamp in the middle of a very dark road. The light was not enough to brighten the whole path, but it was enough to let her know that ahead of her, there was not only night. Master, may I really believe that? The monk looked at her with calm, steady eyes. With faith, you will have the strength to keep walking. And often, what carries a person through the hardest days is not an answer. It is simply a reason not to let go. At that, Tu Tien's tears came again. But this time, they were not the same as before. This time, something inside her had become softer and brighter. She bowed her head low. Thank you, Master. When she left the temple, the sky had turned a deep violet. The bells still rang faintly in the distance. The scent of incense still clung to her clothes. The road down the mountain was still the same road, and yet her heart no longer felt as heavy as before. Not because the danger had disappeared, not because Jack had told her everything, but because she had finally understood that even in the most uncertain days, a person must keep at least one small light alive in their heart, however small it may be, just enough to keep from going completely dark. When Tu Tien returned home, Mama Loi was sitting on the veranda. She looked at her daughter-in-law and smiled softly. Your eyes are different today. Tu Tien sat beside her and gently took her hand. I'm still worried about Jack, but I don't feel as hopeless as I did before. Mama Loy stroked her hair. That is enough. As long as there is still hope in your heart, a person can get through many things. That night, Jack came home very late. He stepped into the house with weariness still resting on his shoulders. But when he saw Tu Tien waiting for him in the warm light, her fingers lightly holding a string of prayer beads, his eyes softened at once. "You're still awake?" Tu Tien looked at him, her face peaceful now. "I was waiting for you, and I want you to remember, you are not carrying everything alone." Jack stood there in silence for a few seconds. Then he stepped forward and pulled her tightly into his arms. Outside, the wind still moved through the trees. The night was still deep. The things he could not yet say were still there. And yet, in that moment, inside that house where the lights were still on, Tu Tien had managed to keep a small flame alive within herself. And maybe, sometimes, a person does not need very much to keep going. Just a prayer. A few words that protect hope. An embrace at the end of the night. And the feeling that no matter how fierce the storm may be outside, there is still a place to return to.